The final thing I want to talk about is having a good structure. Now, this doesn't mean that you follow a prescribed path that, everybody must take and this is the correct way to learn guitar. There isn't a correct way to learn guitar. Everybody has different goals, everybody has different interests, everybody has different levels of practice that they are able to do. What matters is that we start here, we realize that we want to be here, and we know where to go. We can go this way, we can go this way. What we don't want to do is go like this and then loop back down and come around and end up over here. We need to have a structure. We need to understand where it is we want to go, and we need to know how to get there. But that specific route doesn't necessarily have to be one prescribed thing that everybody must do. That's one of the big downsides with following lessons or tutorials or whatever online. When I make lessons online, I try to be as general as I can. I try to anticipate the problems that people will have and kind of provide what I think are helpful answers. But inevitably, I get people who it doesn't quite work for, or doesn't understand what I'm talking about, and that's fine. That's everybody's unique kind of journey. Now, the problem with following tutorials online or courses or whatever is that they follow a specific path, and you might not actually want to go along that path. There's no one correct way to learn. I've just released a beginner guitar course that you can check out in the description if you want. I've tried to structure that in such a way that is as comprehensive as possible for somebody starting out. I've tried to structure it in such a way that will allow someone starting out to maximize what they can do with the skills. But it's not going to be for everybody. Certain lessons are not going to be relevant. Certain lessons are not going to be helpful. I think the structure that I have put in the course is a really, really good one. But when I'm teaching private students, I'll often jump around the lessons that I put down in an order. I sat down and I thought, okay, this is the best way to structure this material. But if I'm working with someone one-on-one and I know what their goals are, I know what it is that they want to do, I don't follow that structure necessarily. And that's okay. So if you want to check that out, link in the description, see if it's helpful for you. A lot of people have really strong opinions on music theory. Some people hate music theory. Some people think that you don't need it. Some people think it's essential. Music theory, I think, should be easy. If it's not easy, then you're doing it wrong. Here's what I mean. If you understand this stuff down here, and you're applying it on your instrument, your theory, then you learn the next part. You're like, oh, cool, okay, that slots in right here, great. I've got a bit more. You learn this next thing. That slots in right here. Got a bit more. It's easy. We're just kind of learning the next bit, just popping it into what we already know. The problem comes when you hear about a concept that's like up here. People will be like, oh, you have to learn how to use modes. And you're like, what modes? What are modes? Modes are kind of tricky because they're an abstract concept. You don't need to know about modes right now. If you don't understand how this thing here connects with what you're doing down here, just forget about it. As you start here, as you put a little bit in, as you level up, you'll get to the point where modes or whatever the tricky concept is just the next thing that slots right in. Music theory should always be easy to learn, or you're doing it wrong. Something feels hard or unrelated, it's just not relevant for right now. Just let it go. Another useful idea, I think, is not to take more than 2 days off at a time and aim to practice at least 4 days a week. That's a good way to aim for consistency. And this will help you maintain momentum. I hope these thoughts have been helpful. These are things that I think are not necessarily obvious when you're starting out learning, but are concepts that if you can get stuck in your head will really change your experience picking up guitar for the first time. Or even if you've been playing for a while. If you've stuck around this long, you might enjoy checking out the beginner course linked in the description. If you want to watch something else, YouTube thinks you might enjoy this video. Otherwise, go play some guitar, and I'll see you next time.